Nice. Okay, Prokofiev. Here we go. Oh, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, that is your piece, my dear. How long have you played that?
I think at least half a year. I'm not sure. Probably more.
Do you use music for it?
Um, like the sheet.
You are using music right now, right? Do you have to?
Um, not necessarily, but I picked up this piece because I performed it like in February. So
Oh,
I'm not exactly, yeah.
no, no, it's fine. I was just curious because the one thing I tell everyone in working on this piece is the first thing they should do is memorize the nasty stuff at because you actually were not the same tempo, as the rest of the piece. And I can't believe that you don't have the technique to play that really in time. We'll go over it later, but I think the only way to play that really play that is not to look at the music.
Okay.
To look at it, it just makes it more confusing. I think you have a beautiful personality for this piece. It's just right for you. It's very beautiful. I'm
Yeah.
about both of the Prokofiev concerti. I think they're wonderful pieces. Um, I can mention uh, something about your bow, which you're very smooth. Your left hand is gangbusters. I mean, your vibrato is terrific and your intonation is really first class. And you're smooth as silk, which is what makes this very, very good. But you do play quite far from the bridge most of the time.
Okay.
Mhm. And for this piece, I think what you do is probably okay. All those like in double forte could really be closer to the bridge. The other thing is that I'm a big one for telling people at a more advanced level that they often are using too much bow, because I think they are. But I think you hardly ever use a real full bow. Are you aware of that? Has anybody ever mentioned that to you?
I'm sure my teacher has mentioned it a lot of times, but sometimes I just don't really keep it in mind.
Well, that's something that we tell young students. More bow, right? We tell them more bow, partly for them to get to understand what the potential is. You never actually use like this much at the tip and that much at the frog. You are short about 2 or 2.5 inches or 3 inches.
Yeah.
Because you feel that's suitable for this piece. What comes out is great. I shouldn't be complaining, but it's a little dangerous. I think that's the way you must always play.
Yeah, it is.
You play the Brahms Violin Concerto that way. I don't think so, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's something that you ought to just observe about yourself. It's not like you want to make this piece necessarily stronger. I think you have the flavor of it. It's perfect, really. But like the double forte, I think you should work on that idea just so that your bow arm doesn't get lazy. It is what makes it so, it's one of the things that makes it so smooth for you, I think, because you avoid the frog. I was mentioning to Yale, who started the Brook Concerto, like right at the frog with flat hair, that's a whole different way and a whole different stage of development. But you're a little bit the other way. Are you also always rolled over?
I'm not sure, probably.
You're not a real flat-haired person, generally, I think. Yeah. I'm wondering what we could work on. The beautiful tunes are always written piano or mezzo piano, but suppose the tune at number 6. Let's just fill that out a little more. Let's not try to play it in your own way, which is very, very good. But I'm curious about your bow. What happens if you try to open like that, because you don't. Yeah. You are in a, what I like a lot about your playing is that you're kind of the personification of round.
Oh.
Is round. Which means essentially it means that the bow never stops. Or it gives that illusion, And you are very round. Now let's make it a little straighter right now. Let's just see what happens. I'd be curious to see what your bow arm does. Can I ask you something, Catherine? Do you play, do you believe that you definitely play quite a bit on the edge of your hair? Do you really try to flatten it as you go to the tip?
No, I don't think so.
See, I think you should.
Okay.
Try that tune again once and just even stop and start. I don't care. Just try the idea of coming a little flatter when you get to the tip. Yeah. Is that uncomfortable with your bow? It looked like.
It was definitely something different. So I had to
Yeah,
think
yeah. I mean, maybe your bow doesn't want to do it.
about
Sometimes
it.
they're stiff and they don't want to do it. But that is essentially the way you should be thinking. You know, I mean, you're curved here, a little curved here, and as you go, as you open it up, it flattens more. It would just give you another color because this is the other thing. I love the color, but it is one color.
Yeah.
It is your color. I mean, you wear lavender all the time. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know, do you? Because your vibrato is great, but it's one vibrato.
Mm.
You never add any arm. Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah, that's true.
uh because I've lost you?
Oh, there.
How you why don't you ever use arm? I mean, you have a wrist vibrato. There's no doubt about it, and it's very, very good. But don't you think that once in a while you could add a little more bottom to things by getting a little arm in there?
Most definitely, yeah. I don't really think about it. Probably that's why, but I probably should.
Can you do it?
Let's let's try.
Okay, let's try something. The very beginning of the piece, try adding some arm to that. I'm not saying that you should do it there, but you know, you play that da da dee da da dum da da dee da 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 twice, and then it comes in again. You know, there you need to have as much color. Your color is beautiful, but it is exactly the same every time you play it.
Yeah.
When you think about arm, what do you think about? Or maybe you just don't think about it. It should activate this muscle here.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a very interesting video about learning vibrato, and you certainly don't need to learn vibrato, but I was very struck by it because uh, it's a video by a man by the name of Paul Roland. And there's a very famous Roland school of teaching young children. And when I was a child, I was in the 6th grade, as a matter of fact, and I went to a summer camp, and it was Paul Roland's summer camp. So I was very connected to the man, and he became very famous. He was just beginning his ideas of working with children at that time. He had been in a string quartet, and he taught at the University of Illinois. He's long since gone, but he was very intelligent and very perceptive about the way he taught vibrato. And one thing in this video that he shows very well is there's a little boy who's about 10 or 12 years old and has a very good back and forth. It's kind of wobbly, but you can see it's going to develop into a nice vibrato. And they've tied a dowel around his bicep, a stick that's just sticking straight out. And that rotates as he's vibrating only with his wrist.
Huh.
And so his point was that whether you have a wrist vibrato or an arm vibrato, you have to activate that muscle,
Mm.
which is something that you might think about because your vibrato is very, very sweet.
Mm.
And once in a while, you might want it to be a little more edge, have a little more edge on it. You know, you want to try playing in tempo.
Yeah.
See what you can do. Oh, you're clean. You're clean as a whistle. You don't think there's a little phrase before number 12?
Uh, oh yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, yeah. Be careful that you just don't go marching through it.
Yeah.
Play fast. Now let's do one more thing. At number 9, get on the bridge. Just play a totally different personality, a totally different sound, very flat hair, and as strong as you can. Right. And so, that doesn't need a lot of vibrato, right? It needs something real clear. Oh, I just encourage you to keep working. Um, are you from Houston? Is Houston your home?
I came from Canada, but I've lived here most of my life. So technically it is my hometown.
Okay, and how old are you? Where are you going to go to school, or where do you go to school?
I'm 17 and I'm going to be a freshman in Northwestern.
Oh, you're going to Northwestern. I went to Northwestern as an undergrad
Really? That's so
long ago. Uh-huh.
cool.
Actually, it's a very good school. It's a very beautiful school. Who are you going to study with?
Mr. Ribeiro.
Okay. Oh, I've had a lot of people go to him. Uh-huh. Oh, you'll like it. Okay. Well, it's very beautiful playing, but I would think about closer to the bridge, adding a little more weight at the tip if you extend a little more and get to the tip and get to the frog, and think about a little different color in that vibrato, a little more depth, which maybe requires a little more involvement from the arm. Okay, already, excellent. Okay, thank you.